Hello, my name is Erik. I'm going to read from the Poetic Edda, and I'm going to read the Poem of Atli. Atli sent a messenger to Gunnar. A well-travelled man came riding. Nefot was his name. He came to the courts of Wiki and to Gunnar's hall. The benches grouped around the hearth and the sweet-tasting beer. The fighting troop all drank there. Still, they concealed their thoughts in silence. Wine in the handsome hall. They feared the Huns' hostility. Then Nefrod called out in a cold voice. The man from the south, he sat on a high bench. Atli has sent me here, riding with a message, on a horse gnashing at its bit through unknown Mirkwood, to invite you to Gunnar to come to our benches, with helmets grouped about the earth, to visit Atli's home. There you may both choose shields and smooth-blade spears, golden helmets and a host of the hunts, silver gilt, saddle clothes, scarlet tunics, mansions with pennants, coursers gnashing at the bits. He said too that he would give you the plain white Knitta heath, whistling spears and gilded prows, great treasures, farms on the Dnieper, that famous force which man called Mirkwood. Gunnar turned his head and said to Hogni, "What do you advise us, young man, when we hear of such things? I didn't know of any gold on Gwitna Heath, that we did not own just as much. We have 7 storehouses full of swords, each of them has a golden hilt. I know my horse is the best, my blade the sharpest, my bow grazes the benches, and my corslets are of gold. The brightest shield and helmet come from the Emperor's hall. One of mine is better than all of the Huns might be." What do you think the lady meant when she sent us a ring, wrapped in the heat wondrous coat? I think she was giving us a warning. I found a heat wondrous hair twisted around a red gold ring. Our way is wolf beset if we go on this errand. No kinsman urged Gunnar, nor any close relative, neither advisors nor counselors, nor any powerful man. Gunnar then said, as a king ought to, splendid is in his mead hall with great spirit, "Rise up now, Fjornir, send the warriors golden goblets, passing around the hall from hand to hand. The wolf will reign over the Niflung's inheritance. The old grey guardians, if Gunnar is lost, black-coated bears will bite with tenacious teeth. Make the bitch pack rejoice if Gunnar does not return. The valiant troop, the excellent man, weeping. Let the war-eager princes out of the young man's court." Then said Hogni's young heir, "Go well now, and wisely, where your spirit draws you." The brave man spurred the big gnashing horses to gallop over the mountains, through unknown Mirkwood. All the Hun borderlands shook as the resolute ones passed. They drove the whip-shy horses over the green plains. They saw Atli's land and watchtowers looking deep down. Biggish warriors standing on the high citadel. The hall over the southern folk encompassed with wooden benches, with well-bound shields, shining targets, lances with pennants, There Atli was drinking wine in the handsome hall. The watchman sat outside, guarding against Gunnar and his men, if they should come visiting, with whistling spears to make war against the prince. Their sister first perceived them come into the hall, both her brothers. Little beer had she drunk. Betrayed you are now, Gunnar. What mighty lord will you manage against the Hun's evil tricks? Quickly, leave the hall. It would have been better, brother, if you come in a corselet, with those helmets still grouped round the hearth, to see Atli's home. If you sat in the saddle all through sun-bright days, made the Norns weep at the pallid corpses, taught Hun-sealed maidens how to haul a harrow, and Atli himself you could have put in the snake pit, now that the snake pit stands ready for you. Too late now, sister, to connect the Niflungs, too far to seek a troop of uncowardly men from the Rhine's rugged mountains. They seized Gunnar and put him in fetters, the friend of the Burgundians, and bound him fast. 7 Hockney hacked down with a sharp sword, and the 8th he hurled into the hot fire. So a dauntless man should defend himself against enemies, as Hockney defended himself and Gunnar. They asked the brave man, Lord of the Gods, if he wanted to buy his life with gold. Hockney's heart must lie in my hand, bleeding, cut from the bold horseman's breast with a sharp biting knife from the prince's son. They cut the heart out of Helios' breast, bleeding, laid it on a platter, and brought it to Gunnar. Then said Gunnar, Lord of men, here I have the heart of Heli, the cowardly, quite unlike the heart of Hockney the brave. It quivers greatly as it lies on the platter. It quivered twice as much when it was in the breast. Then Hockney laughed as they cut to his heart. That living smith of scars, he never thought to cry out. They laid it bleeding on a platter and brought it to Gunnar. Then said splendid Gunnar, the spear Niflung, here I have the heart of Hockney the brave, quite unlike the heart of Heli the cowardly. It scarcely quivers as it lies on the plate. It did not quiver even that much when it lay in his breast. Atli, now you'll be as far from my eyes as you will be from the treasure. Now with me alone the Nifling hordes, all hidden. Now Hockney is not alive. I was always in doubt while we were both alive. Now I am not. Now I alone live. The swift Rhine shall rule over men's strife metal. These are given inheritance of the Niflungs. The splendid rings will gleam in running water, rather than gold shine on Hun children's hands. Drive out the chariot. Now the captive is in chains, and on from there the big shaker drew the neck-ring guardian to death. Atli the powerful rode the horse with ringing mane. Sword-armed men surrounded the kinsman. Gudrun of the victory gods fought back her tears, bereft in a noisy hall. May it so befall you, Atli, as you swore to Gunnar. Oaths you've often gave and pledged early. by the sun curving to the south and Victory's God Mountain, by the marriage bed horse and by Und's ring. The living prince they placed in the pit. A crowd of men did it, which was crawling inside with snakes, and Gunnar, alone, grim-minded, struck his harp with his hand. The strings resounded, so should a brave ring-giver guard his gold from enemies. Atli turned his gravel treading horse towards his land, back from the border. There was a noise in the courtyard, crowded with horses. Men's weapons song. They had come from the heath. Out went Gudrun to meet Atli with a golden goblet to render the prince his due. Prince, you may receive in your own hall, gladly from Gudrun, little creatures gone into darkness. Atli's ale cups were ringing, heavy with wine, as all together in the hall the Huns assembled. Men with long mustaches, each troop came in. The bright-faced woman darted about, bringing drink. The terrible woman, to the nobles, she brought morsels with the ale. For the pale-faced woman, reluctantly, then she told Atli his shame. Your own sons share out of swords, hearts, corpse, bloody. You are chewing up with honey. You are filling your stomach, proud lord, with dead human flesh, eating it as ale appetizers and sending it to the high seat. You'll never again call to your knee, herb or idol, two boys marry with ale. You'll not see them again amidst the seats, those gold givers putting shafts on the spears, trimming the manes or driving their horses. There was uproar on the benches, terrible song of men, howling in their costly cloaks. The children of the Huns wept. All but Gudrun, she who never wept, for her brothers fierce as bears and her dear sons, young, innocent, whom she had with Atli. Gold she scattered, the gosling bright woman, red gold rings she gave the house servants. She let fate culminate and the shining metal flow. She did not care at all, that lady, about the temple stores. Unaware, Atli had drunk himself to exhaustion. He had no weapons, no defense against Gudrun. Often the sport was better, why they lovingly would often embrace each other in front of the nobles. With a sword point, she gave the bed blood to drink. With a hell-bent hand, she loosed the dogs, hurled before the hall the wars of flaming brand, wakening the house servants. The bride made them pay for her brothers. She gave to the fire all who were in there, who after the death of Gunnar and Hoghni had come from Myrkheim. The ancient timbers fell, the temples went up in smoke. The estates of Batli's descendants, shield maids inside, burned up, their lives stopped, they sank into the hot fire. Now, this story is all told. Never since has a bride in a burning acted so to avenge her brothers. She brought news of death to 3 great kings, that bright woman before she died.